Kishida, and good afternoon to all. It truly is a pleasure to be here in Japan, Tokyo, on my first trip, and into Asia. And as Secretary of State, I think it does underscore the importance of America's relationship with Japan. I'm pleased to have already had two important meetings and productive discussions with Foreign Minister Kishida, one in Bonn, the other in Washington, and I look forward to meeting with Prime Minister Abe later. These discussions have affirmed the friendship between Japan and the United States is strong and enduring, and will continue under the Trump administration. We have deep economic ties, and we'll keep working together to sustain and strengthen a relationship that is fair for both of our countries. We will work with Japan on shared regional and global objectives, including strong security cooperation within the U.S.-Japan alliance, affirming a rules-based approach to maritime governance, and deepening American, Japanese, and South Korean trilateral cooperation in the face of North Korea's dangerous and unlawful nuclear and ballistic missile programs. Our long-standing alliance is devoted to peace, prosperity, and freedom in the Asia-Pacific region. While the security environment in this region can be challenging, the United States is committed to strengthening our role, and we welcome an increased Japanese commitment to their roles and responsibilities in our alliance. We affirmed that Article 5 of the 1960 U.S.-Japan Treaty of Mutual Cooperation and Security covers the Senkaku Islands. We oppose any unilateral action that seeks to undermine Japan's administration of the Senkakus. As President Trump and Prime Minister Abe expressed in their February 10th statement, a priority of ours is expanding trilateral cooperation with the Republic of Korea. Trilateral cooperation allows our three nations to coordinate actions on major regional and global problems and more effectively counter the threats posed by North Korea. We intend to continue our coordination in regard to the implementation of UN Security Council Resolutions 2270 and 2231, which imposed robust and comprehensive sanctions on North Korea to inhibit its campaign to develop operational nuclear and missile capabilities. North Korea and its people need not fear the United States or their neighbors in the region who seek only to live in peace with North Korea. With this in mind, the United States calls on North Korea to abandon its nuclear and ballistic missile programs and refrain from any further provocations. The U.S. commitment to the defense of Japan and its other treaty allies through the full range of our military capabilities is unwavering. Once again, I'm honored to be here, and the United States looks forward to continuing its long-standing partnership with the Japanese people. Thank you. Well, I think it's important to recognize that the diplomatic and other efforts of the past 20 years to bring North Korea to a point of denuclearization have failed. So we have 20 years of failed approach. And that includes a period in which the United States provided $1.35 billion in assistance to North Korea as an encouragement to take a different pathway. That encouragement has been met with further development of nuclear capabilities, more missile launches, including those of the recent February 11th and March the 5th. In the face of this ever-escalating threat, it is clear that a different approach is required. Part of the purpose of my visit to the region is to exchange views on a new approach. Foreign Minister Kishida and I had a very open and candid discussion around a different approach. We'll have further discussions with Prime Minister Abe. I will have further discussions in Seoul and ultimately in Beijing as well. A proposed budget that has been put forth by President Trump. It's important from the State Department perspective, I think, a little context to recognize that the State Department is coming off of an historically high level of budgetary resources in the 2017 budget. And this is reflective of a number of decisions that have been taken over the past few years, in part driven by the level of conflicts that the U.S. has been engaged in around the world, as well as disaster assistance that's been needed. I think clearly the level of spending that the State Department has been undertaking in the past, in particular in this past year, is simply not sustainable. So on a go-forward basis, what the President is asking the State Department to do is, I think, reflective of a couple of expectations. One is that as time goes by, there will be fewer military conflicts that the U.S. will be directly engaged in. And second, that as we become more effective in our aid programs, that we will also be attracting resources from other countries, allies, and other sources as well to contribute in our development aid and our disaster assistance. I think as I look at our ability to meet the mission of the State Department, I am quite confident. You know, the men and women in the State Department are there for one reason. They're not there for the glory, they're not there for the money, obviously. They're there because they're extraordinarily dedicated to the mission and dedicated to ensuring America's national security, economic security. We are going to be undertaking a very comprehensive examination of how programs are executed, a very comprehensive examination of how we are structured, and I'm confident that with the input of the men and women of the State Department, we are going to construct a way forward that allows us to be much more effective, much more efficient, and be able to do a lot with fewer dollars. So it's challenging. We understand the challenge. I take the challenge that the President has given us on willingly, and with great expectation that with everyone in the State Department's assistance, we're going to deliver a much better result for the American people in the future. Well, I appreciate how painful dealing with such historic issues are for both sides. And the U.S. maintains its support, though, of the agreement that has been reached between Japan and the ROK to address the issue. We encourage both sides to approach that agreement in earnest and sincere efforts to bring this to a conclusion. It is important to the trilateral relationship between the U.S., Japan, and the ROK that we maintain a strong alliance in which there is no space between us, particularly as it comes to dealing with the threats of the DPRK. So we are supportive, and we are hopeful that the parties can come to a rapid conclusion on the agreement. Well, as to China's support towards encouraging North Korea to give up on its nuclear program, we do believe they have a very important role to play. China is a major source of economic trade and activity with North Korea. China has long stated their policy that they too want to denuclearize North Korea. China has voted in favor of the UN resolutions 2230 and 2221. So we look to China to fulfill its obligations and fully implement the sanctions called for in the UN resolutions. We will be having discussions with China as to further actions we believe they might consider taking that would be helpful to bringing North Korea to a different attitude about its future need for nuclear weapons.
What can you do about the North Korea threat, gentlemen?
Secretary Tillerson. 成果を受けて、この日米の具体的な協力の在り方について、歴史とともに、
Thank you very much, Minister Kishida, for the warm welcome, and it is a pleasure to see you again. Obviously, the travel to the region, and this being my first stop, I think does underscore the importance that the United States places on the Japanese-U.S. relationship, but also the importance of the Asia-Pacific region to the United States. And I think, as you indicated, in the exchange of our two leaders, the U.S.-Japan alliance remains the cornerstone to peace and stability in the Asia-Pacific region. I think it's important while we are together to strengthening our bilateral relationship as well as with the Republic of Korea. Our trilateral cooperation is critical, in particular as we address North Korea's nuclear and ballistic missiles programs. Our long history together, I know, and our importance we place regionally, we will build upon our shared values